So let's talk about cartwheels. Now, I know they're not the most exciting thing in the world. I mean, it's a cartwheel. A lot of people learn it as a kid. Some people who don't learn it as a kid just don't care because it's a cartwheel. Now, the crazy thing about cartwheels is that literally any flip that you see ever that's done on flat ground, the base core mechanic behind it is a cartwheel. So you might be saying, wait a minute, how does a double full have anything to do with a cartwheel? Now, you gotta go quite a few steps back to get to where the cartwheel comes in, but if you think about it, you can get a backflip from a cartwheel. Now, you start with the cartwheel, you work it into the backflip. From there, you can take your backflip and slowly turn it into a back full. Once you have the full, it's just a few steps away. It might take a long time from the double full, but you'll get there. Now, this can be said about pretty much any skill. At the very, very base, a cartwheel is needed to learn it. Now, a lot of people want to skip the cartwheels. It's insane to me how many students I've had come into my flips class and want to learn a backflip, want to learn a front flip, and they're very close. My first question is always, how does your cartwheel look? And most of them have either never tried a cartwheel or have horrible cartwheels. And I always make them take a big step back, work on their cartwheels before they move on to perfecting their flips. And that's because if you don't have that base fundamental skill, then one of two things is going to happen. One, it's just going to be harder to get the flip because you're not as comfortable controlling your body. Now, controlling a front flip versus controlling a cartwheel, it's so much harder to control the front flip. So if within 5 or 10 minutes I can't get you to control your cartwheel, that means it's going to take weeks to get your front flip. Now, if we can hammer out that cartwheel first, so that you have it perfect every time and you learn the body techniques and how to control your body to do that nice perfect cartwheel, then it's going to be much easier to control your body while doing that front flip. The second thing is that even if you do get the front flip relatively easily, what's going to happen is that cartwheel is going to hinder you for a long time until you perfect it. I have a couple friends who are trying things like round off double full, cart double full, things like this, but their cartwheel is really bad. And the issue is the cartwheel needs to be fixed, not the flips. So as you can see, everything that I've been doing, it comes from a cartwheel, and I've showed very clear steps how to take just a normal cartwheel and turn them into those flips. So now let's talk about how to get that perfect cartwheel to start with. We're gonna start very, very basic from the ground up and get a nice clean cartwheel. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want you comfortable on your hands before you move into the more advanced things like turning the cartwheel into different flips. So that first step is just getting comfortable on your hands. Just get down, do some bear crawling, hop up into small tiny handstands, try a couple little pivots on your hands. Nothing crazy, just get comfortable with weight on your hands. That is the first step, and that's also gonna bleed into our second step, which is starting to hop into small handstands. They don't have to be big, they don't have to be tall, they don't have to be perfect, just tiny tucked handstands so that you're getting weight on your hands, your arms, and your wrists. So you're comfortable holding that for just a split second and get comfortable falling to each direction. Maybe you'll fall to the left, right, you might tip over the front. Just figure out nice bail techniques for that. The more comfortable you are bailing in every direction, the easier everything else is gonna be. Next up, we're gonna start pushing our legs up to straight in our handstand and then coming straight back down to our feet. So we start in that little small tucked, kick our legs up straight, and then drop back down to where we will be standing up. Once you're comfortable with that, we're gonna start from standing and do what's called a scissor kick. We're gonna split our legs very slightly, hands go down to the ground as we kick our back leg up. Our leg that did not kick up is gonna come meet the other leg at the top and then step right back down to the ground, and we're gonna stand right back up. Now, while working on these, you can also practice falling to each side, falling to the left, falling to the right, and that is basically the exit to your cartwheel. You also might kick up a little bit too high and start tipping all the way over. There's a few good bail options. My favorite one is just letting your arms twist and coming back down to the ground onto your feet on the other side, like I show here. You can also just drop straight into a roll if you need to do that. The grass is very itchy. I don't want to roll right now, so I'm not going to show you that. But you understand the basic idea is you just fall over into a bit of a roll. Worst thing that's ever going to happen is you might slightly knock the wind out of yourself if you completely mess up and don't even get your feet down. But that's fine, just catch your breath and try it some more. Now that we have a nice comfortable handstand and we're getting comfortable on our hands with our legs straight up, we're gonna take a few steps back and we're gonna come back to the ground and just work on some very mini cartwheels. Just getting our legs from one side of our arms to the other side of our arms and then back again. And that's just gonna get us comfortable with this kind of swivel motion that happens when we do the cartwheel. Eventually I want you to go one foot to the other foot. Now we're gonna take the closest arm to our body and we're gonna turn it upside down so our fingers are pointing backwards and our thumb is pointing the direction we wanna go. Our other hand is gonna come over the top to the opposite side of that first hand that we planted, and we're gonna lift off from our back leg first. So our front leg, the leg that's closest to our arm, is gonna stay on the ground. Our back leg's gonna kick to the other side, step down as our other leg follows. Now this whole time, I want your eyes staying on the ground between your hands. From there, all we have to do is start bringing our hips over the top of our head instead of in front. Work on this very gradually. It's gonna take some time. As you get more comfortable, you can start straightening out your legs, start straightening out your hips. Feel free to try one side over the other, but do work both. Now, if any of these steps are a little bit too much, getting your feet from one side of you to the other side, I always want you practicing dropping your feet in front of your body, not letting them go behind your body. I see a lot of people do this kind of spin move. We want to avoid that spin move as much as we can and keep our feet in control, dropping in front of our body, not behind. Now, the very final steps is we want to try to keep our hands and feet on kind of an imaginary line the whole time and make sure our whole body is as straight as we can get it so that we're not tipping to the front or tipping to the back. All right, guys, take your time with these steps. Don't rush anything. Have some fun with it. Just play around. Get outside in the grass when it's nice and sunny and just play around on your hands and your feet. Not just running around on your feet all the time, but get your hands down on the ground as well. Start practicing some of these techniques, playing around with, you know what, maybe I can cartwheel. Just start playing around with that idea, and once you have the cartwheel, there's infinite possibilities. If you've mastered your cartwheel, I promise you, you can master any flip at all. It's just gonna take time and dedication. Let me know if you guys liked this little tutorial. It wasn't super in-depth, it was just kind of a quick thing that I wanted to put together while I was out training today. If you guys liked it, let me know. Let me know what you guys didn't like. Let me know if you guys actually went out and tried it, because I want more people to try this. There's a lot of people just kind of write it off as like, I'm not into this stuff. But the same people that say that also consistently say, I want to get into shape. But the thing is, this is like the funnest, easiest way to get into shape. You just go outside and play, and you slowly build that endurance, you build that strength, it becomes easier and easier, and you learn some awesome skills. So let me know if you guys go out and try these things. I'd love to hear back from you. See you guys in the next one.